Hi everyone, welcome back to RC Pie. It's cold today in the garage, but thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. Please remember to hit the bell. It's handy for you, but it's all useful for me as well. Today we're going to be having a look at the Outback Mini 2 Paso version, which is an unlicensed Suzuki Jimny, basically. It's a 1/24th scale mini crawler. It's not brand new. Have had it for a while. Well, I've not had it. It's actually my 3-year-old daughter's car. Father Christmas brought it for her. So it's been in the house for a couple of months. We'll do some tests. We'll show you what's under the hood there and see whether it's one that we'd recommend for you. Here's what you get with the Paso. So there's a USB charger for the mini LiPo that you get with it. That takes about 3 hours to do a full charge. It's got lights on it to tell you whether it's charging or fully charged, so that's great, really simple. The transmitter, it's one of these fairly standard units on a lot of these 1/24th scale mini units. You've got the removable handle in there. It's 4 AAA batteries. So that's nice and easy. That clips on so that you can switch over this top section to one handle. You'll be able to have one handle with your batteries in and then use various cars if you wanted to do that. Yeah, you've got a channel 3 on there, a reverse on there, and your steering trim and throttle trim, which you can also use to adjust the dual rates on those. So getting more or less steering out of there by setting those up. You've got the manual. It's not a bad little manual for this sort of car, this sort of ready to run. You know, tells you everything you need to know. It's got how to do the different controls, how to set up the dual rates and things like that. A bit of troubleshooting, as well as having all the separate parts lists and like the hop-up options as well, if you want to upgrade, and all those parts on the back. So decent little manual. And onto the car itself. Now, apart from this awesome little body on it, what's under the hood? So 4 body pins, as you'd expect on just about any car of any scale. We'll get those off. They are a bit fiddly, especially through this roof rack. They're a little bit of a pain in there. Just pop that out. Now, the one difference with this is to a lot of the minis is that the lights are fastened inside the body. So we do need to be careful with that and not just yank it off and break the wires, whatever. But yeah, overall, exactly the same as the other FTX Outback Mini 2s. You've got this combined speedo and receiver, which is an okay unit. It's not got much finesse. I mean, really, it's probably the weak point of these vehicles. Motor situated in the middle with your transfer box. These plastic drive shafts, just got the metal knuckles in there. 4-link suspension front and back, solid axle. Not a lot more to say. Get some muck off there from doing some tests with it. Yeah, the metal rails, just sprung suspension, works perfectly fine. It's a nice chassis. 600 milliamp hour battery on the back. If you want to get an extra one of those only come in at about £10, so it's cheap to add those to your toolbox so you can keep running all day. What else to say? I don't know. I mean, it's one of the concerns with this, I suppose, is the tall body mounts on there and just the size of this body, the amount of weight that's up high with this roof rack on it. Plastic mirrors and snorkel and your spare wheel on the back. Bead lock, just like these are bead locks, so you could put weights in there. But it's just a bit of a concern that it might be a bit top heavy, so we will see in some of the tests. But overall, Nice little unit. The first test we're looking at is a high grip incline. So this is climbing up some chenille on a sofa cushion. You can see that's cocking its leg there, but we just want to see when that happens. Failure at 42.5 degrees. Now a quick look at the ground clearance. I'm going to use Lego for a lot of these things, so we've got a standard measurement. So we've got 2 plates thick there, easy. Can 3 plates get under? No, not quite. So you'll be able to compare from the different tests with other cars. Now a step climb. Just how much can one of these Pasos get up in a single step like this? So again, using the Lego, so we've got a standard measurement. We're going to do standard tests with any 1/24 scale car, so you can see just how they perform. Paso's doing remarkably well here. It's quite surprising. But is it going to start suffering with that top-heavy body? Just as in the climb test, it didn't do quite as well as you might imagine from a crawler or what you'd think of as a climbing truck or car. But still doing well, still bumping up those steps with a bit more speed. It's just whether the weight over the front will drop down to give it that traction as it bumps. And I think it might have got as far as it can get here. Doing this off carpet, so we've definitely got the traction on the rear wheels. And, you know, I want to give it a good, fair go, because you might absolutely pound the trail, whatever little trail you're on. So you want to make sure it can do it. And it did it. Fair enough, it did it. Now here, you know, we've got to a step that's probably higher than that bumper. So I think we can pretty much say this isn't happening, but let's give it a go. Let's give it a go until we get a complete failure. You can't knock me for persevering. I like to be fair to these little trucks, but we've got to just say it's not happening. So now a wall climb. So we want to see whether it can get up and over a brick wall. So straight up, straight over. Here we get a better view of the clearance. So that's just about clearing. How far, how well can it do? Once it gets a little bit higher, what is the balance of this truck like? It's still managing it. Just get that momentum, get the front wheels down. And it looks like it's got stuck, but faster go, and we're over. 3.7, no problem. 4, no problem. Now this looks like a bit of a struggle, but it still made it. Still getting over, quite impressive. Trying to get both wheels on, there we go. Back bumper's a bit stuck. Gonna pull the wall over. Still made it, incredible. You know, that front bumper, the shape of it, is really helping on an obstacle like this. But I think we've reached the max. So a gap crossing test. So we just want to see how far it can get across this gap. So we're up to 6 studs there. The bumper's starting to get a bit stuck. 7. You know, we might have to start using some speed. Just how far can it get? I've had to put some books on the other side of this just so the little test isn't rushing off screen with the effort of this little truck. We want it to stay in shot. Still 11 studs. Still made it. 12.
and we failed. I had a few more goes, couldn't do it. So now, household obstacles, things that you might find lying around the house. It's one of the best ways, one of the common ways of playing with these mini or micro crawlers. So here, just a set of remote controls. How does it do? Does it climb over them? Does it push them out of the way? And it manages. A bit trickier here. 2 PS4 pads. And over. Pencils on a box lid. Could spin round, and then there's a bit of a step here, so you've got the low traction of that box lid and up to a CD case. Up over a couple of poofs. You may notice I've put some little gates along here as well to give me a proper target. And then onto the sofa. We're seeing just whether these steps, whether the gaps can be crossed. You know, they're quite realistic tests for out on a trail, even though you're just doing it in your living room. So look at all the things around you and just make those courses, and then see how your trucks perform, see how your driving performs. So here we're going to go up the cushion, around the top obstacle and back down the cushion. So we've got to climb, a bit of a traverse whilst turning, and then a descent. So it's just about managed to climb there. Done okay, cocking that wheel, as we've come to expect with the Paso. Cocking the wheel, can it get round? It's not looking too good. Can it get, oh, and failed. So we'll just reset it up there. Coping with the descent quite well. Back onto these cushions. Again, they can be tricky tests. Soft ground like this, like running on a cushion where you think you've got the angles and then it moves under the weight of the vehicle. Sometimes that can throw you. And then a last step up onto this table. So those were all done individually. But now I think it's good to not just test the obstacles, but test how easy it is to link them all together. So you can see that it's a true test. It's just one shot. So over these remotes, even those can prove quite tricky because they move, they slip, they spin round. Can we get over? Yeah, go over. Now, the PlayStation pads. These are really tricky because those analog sticks really get in the way and move around. And they're rubber, so they're grippy, so you can get stuck on there. So turn it around here. You can see the sort of turning circle that you get with it. It's not bad, it's not great. Bit of wheel spin. Oh, falling off the side of the CD case. Onto the poof. Just move around. Probably more my issue with one-handed driving than the capability of the Paso there. Now we'll try and get up here without tipping it over to the side. Just about done it, have we? And up. Along the sofa, through the next gate, up over a bag of stones, another CD case. So when you're making your courses, remember, don't overdo it. You know, put little obstacles in between things so that you reduce the size of the step. Around, can we make it here? This is the trickiest bit. And this is a good example that sometimes the hardest obstacles are the easiest ones to make. All we've got is one cushion and driving around a mobile phone. Over these cushions and back onto the table. And onto the table. Come on. And he's made it. Now, out in the garden, small scale rock course. For some people, this is going to be the most important sort of test, and for some people, the least important. You might want to just drive them indoors. You might want to be taking them in a rucksack, going wherever you go. Each to their own, but you get a sense of what it's capable of in its supposedly natural environment. Now, I don't think there were any major surprises here. I think the only surprise watching it will be how quickly it's getting over the course. And that actually isn't necessarily a strength, it's a bit of a weakness, because you've got to just go for it with this. Because the speed controller just isn't that good, and because you know if you approach a steep slope, going up or down, if you do it slowly, it's likely to just fall over because it is top heavy. So you can see there, you've got to just launch it, go for it, and hope it gets over. As soon as you get onto a steeper slope, it's just struggling. You know, it's just about getting over that, because that, although it's steep, is just a step that it can reach over. As soon as you get onto steeper stuff, you can see front wheels lifting. It's not happy. It's not happy. It's not looking stable. That could tip over at any moment. You saw the front wheels go up again then. And it's very hard to drive smoothly and add just that bit of power to try and get up, because the speed controller is so weak. So you've not got a good combination with a slightly ropey speed controller and a bit of a top-heavy car. You know, it's doing all right, and it's fun. You drive it in the right way, it's good fun, and of course it looks cool. But there you go. Look, you've got to just blast it. It's the only chance you've got. Go for it. Point it in the right direction. Is it going to fall over? No. But yeah, the solution is usually throttle, and that, for me, isn't in the spirit of a crawler.
Right, that's the Outback 2 Mini Paso. What do I think of it? Well, I still think it's one of the best looking little crawlers out there, probably the best looking. But it's massively let down by all this detail, adding all that weight up top, and it just does not cope on any slopes, going up, going down, or traversing. It's really prone to rolling. The chassis is decent, speed control is not great. I suppose it depends what you want it for. You know, my little girl absolutely loves it, which is understandable because it's cool. It's really cool. But would I recommend getting one of these? No, I wouldn't. The Outback 2 is cool, but don't go for the Paso, because the body just lets it down performance-wise. But, you know, if you want to stretch out your collection, or if you want to do a load of upgrading, maybe you could strip off the rack, put stuff lower down, put some weight lower down. Might help it. Don't know how much, but could be worth a shot. I wouldn't go for one of these again, personally. I'd stick to the Ranger, or there is an Alto as well. Coming in at about £70. But yeah, there's better on the market. So you make your decisions. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you again on RC Pie.